trail is a metaphor for change. Although hiking, and specifically endurance hiking, is now a big part of my day-to-day, it's not just about exercise. It's about transformation. Each step is a movement towards clarity, purpose, and identity. But movement is one thing, sharing insights gained is another. As a U.S. Marine veteran, I created this space to help other veterans gain clarity, purpose, and identity. Let's walk this path together. This is Trail to Transformation.
Most people aren't broken, they're just dysregulated. Chronic stress, pain, anxiety, and burnout aren't mindset failures. They're nervous systems stuck in survival. I'm Leland Holgate, combat veteran and neuroscientist, and I created the Welcome Home method to help people rewire their nervous systems with breath. To go deeper, visit thewillfulwarrior.com.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, my name is Dr. Keith McNally, and this is Laura Cross. Yes, I am not on the Appalachian Trail. So, as the time of this recording, and it's about mid-May, I'm not sure when this will air, but I should be on the trail, and I've had some challenges with that. And so, Laura and I are going to talk a little bit about that. But before we do, we just got our numbers for March, Laura, and they look pretty good. So I want
to. They were incredible. Yes, actually, they were really incredible.
So for our first month, they actually do look pretty good. And so I want to thank everybody for tuning in wherever you are in the world and whoever you are, and however you're watching this. My heart goes out to you. I really do appreciate it. We're going to continue the conversations. We want to continue the mission. And of course, we want to get me back on the Appalachian Trail. And so that will probably be a 2027 agenda as we move through 2026. But Laura, we've got some things to talk about. And
yes, we do. And I'm glad you decided to come on here because I think everybody needs to hear your challenges and what you came across, which were learning lessons because you've done this not once, but now twice now you've attempted the trail with every intention of doing it, but as you said, challenges came up. So maybe you can share with us a little bit about those challenges. And I do want to say I love the fact that you didn't just throw in the towel and say, I can't do this and I'm not doing this. You just know that you need to gear up better and do things better for next year. So you're not by any means giving up. But yeah, if you can share with us a little bit kind of what some of those challenges were that you came across.
Yes, but I think a large part of me not giving up is you, because when I stopped the first time, I stopped. So to give context to our audience, I went out late March, so March 29th, 27th, 29th, somewhere in that frame. I stepped on the approach trail actually, Mekalola Falls, which gets you to Springer Mountain. And I did about 2 days. God help me, I did about 2 days. And there was just a lot of complications. And so it wasn't really about me not physically being able to hike up and down a mountain range. I could do that. I've done it before. I've done Grandfather Mountain and Profile Trail, Profile Loop, Callaway Peak in the Grandfather Mountain area. So I was familiar with the terrain itself and what it's going to look like, and climbing up 2,000 feet. There were logistical issues, there were psychiatric issues, and there were some other issues as well. One of the primary ones that I wasn't able to overcome was sleep. So there was a lot of sleep deprivation for me. Despite the fact that I had tried a couple different sleeping mats, including a highly recommended air mattress, just wasn't able to get the quality of sleep I needed on the ground in a tent in order to sustain all of the physical labor that really is required to do all this walking.
Yeah, and we know all know sleep is very essential. I mean, even regular day to day, but this is a lot of physical activity, so that sleep is of the utmost important. And I want to say, it I found it in one of your previous ones, you discussed with one of the other hosts about some of your fears that you thought you would have. And I found it really surprising, but was happy to hear that, being afraid of the dark wasn't even an issue. That didn't even come up for you.
It did, and actually that was surprising for me because I even back home, I still have to say it. I still sleep with the bathroom light on, so I still sleep with a night light on. Um, yeah, it was. I think I had conversations with both Suzanne, who was filling in for me as host, and Michelle Ann Collins, who is also filling in as host. And I had two different conversations, and there were some very specific fears going in. And one of them was, how would I be able to sleep with no light? So we're talking about maybe just the moon and some stars, but no real light, and I wasn't going to burn my flashlight all night long. That wouldn't have been wise, just to conserve battery power. But of all the fears, that was not something that I was challenged with. Not that I did, Ashley was with me. And so some of her presence and her energy really did kind of help soothe that fear away that, because I'm expecting if there is an animal or something that's going to approach, she's quick to, just jump up and look around, even though, we're in a tent. If we were to hear something like a bear, or any other animal for that matter, um, I felt that she would have been able to alert me in enough time to do something appropriately, whether it be make noise, logically, or if there's something rummaging around out there. But that actually never did happen. So we were never, given the short time I was out there, never approached by a bear. Um, Not many wild animals, other than your favorite, and I'm being facetious. Um, we did see a snake or two, and so other than that, there wasn't any real environmental challenges in that manner. So I'm very happy for that.
Yeah. So, what are some of the things that you feel that you learned, or or can maybe you can explain to people a little bit kind of how you were feeling during this time of trying to, complete it, but then not being able to complete it, making that decision to come back home. Maybe you can help explain some of that to people, what was going through your mind.
So the first time out there, like end of March, I step on the trail and and I'm on the trail and I'm nauseous. So it's literally day zero or like day one. I'm not even at Springer Mountain. I'm nauseous. I didn't eat breakfast. All that first time jitters kind of thing. So that didn't help me out. By lunchtime, I still wasn't hungry, but I did eat some trail mix. And by the time it got to climbing up Springer Mountain, my body had already given out. And so physically, I was just exhausted. There really wasn't any gas left in the tank. I did literally, I go in there with a trail name of Soldier, and by the time I'm getting that far, I feel like I'm an old man and a dog. And so, I literally, changed my trail name within a day. But the environment itself, there are people out there, and there's going to be section hikers, and there's going to be day hikers, and there were a couple of intentional through hikers, whether they were wannabe or this is their second time or more through. There were people out there. But even in that, I'm hiking my own trail. I'm walking my own path, basically. And that, for me, that means I'm not with a partner other than Ashley. And of course, she's my service dog. She's my trail companion. And I walk slow. And so with Ashley and with my own pace, I'm really doing my own hike. And so there aren't too many people to talk to. There aren't any, friends to make out there. And one of the things that I wanted to be able to do, hopefully, and this is, again, this is one of the identified fears, is I wanted to belong to the community of thru hikers along the Appalachian Trail. I wanted to be able to complete it. I wanted to feel like I belonged to a group. And I say that because historically, my history is that hasn't been the case. And so, even as a Marine and then going through college and then master's level school and doctorate level school, I was never able to find myself a place, a group of people to belong to. And so was another attempt for me to do that, and that never happened. It didn't happen even in the short time I was there. It didn't happen. Of course, I didn't complete it, and I don't think even if I were to complete it in 2027 next year, I don't think it's important anymore for me to belong to the group as to be a part of the community. What I found for myself was I'm okay being who I am. So I'm okay walking with Ashley. I'm okay walking at a slower pace. I'm okay not having completed it because there were a lot of lessons learned. So there was a lot of things that since I came off the trail, and now it's been about a week or so after my second attempt, was that how things are really okay. And I've said that a couple of times. For me, it's what's going on inside of here, my heart, and what's going on inside of here, my head, that says, okay, things didn't go exactly as planned. Initially, I did say, I failed at this. I didn't call myself a failure, but like I said earlier, I was ready to give up. Now, a lot of that has to do with, sleep deprivation, just not having the right energy, the food energy, the voices in my head. It was so quiet out there. The voices in my head became more prominent, and we'll just keep it at that. So there were a lot of, like I said, multiple types of challenges that I really wanted to overcome and just wasn't able to do it this time. And I think the lack of sleep really amplified all the other problems that I had, making it extremely difficult to kind of do any more than what I did.
Yeah, I think you came a long way, and I think you learned probably the most important lessons, and that's that you don't need to compare yourself to anybody. And I'm proud of you. I'm hoping you're proud of yourself for what what you've done and what you have achieved, and that you're going to keep going because I think we do that way too often is we compare ourselves to other people or look what somebody else did and, say, oh, well, this isn't normal. That's not, there is no normal, it's what works for you. And it's no one's place to sit back and judge. I mean, how many people wouldn't even attempt that? There's always all these different levels. So I really think that's phenomenal. And I think you're going to be going even further now that you've come to that conclusion and that mindset. I think it'll help a lot.
What I found, and so this was kind of the goal. The goal the first time this year was to push through, no matter what the challenge was, overcome it, even if it was going to tear me apart, hike to 2,200 miles, learn from it, learn the logistics, learn everything I could from it. Learn how to do it successfully, whatever that was. And there's a lot of logistical elements to this. So there is what to carry, what not to carry, what to wear, what not to wear, your pacing, type of food, how to replenish water. There's a whole lot of planning involved. And there's guidebooks. There's a Thru Hiker Companion. It's a guidebook that literally maps it out, elevation, where the next resupply is, where the next town is, and all those logistical planning elements. For somebody with challenges, psychiatric challenges, as myself, what my thought was, I can do this, and then all the sequential times that I do this, because again, this was legitimately what I wanted was to bring other people, maybe not for the entire hike, but every year using it as a fundraising event for the foundation. And I do want to talk about the foundation before we end this conversation, because we're up and running. Was to bring a kind of a mobile unit along the path. So not necessarily walking the path, but meeting me and whoever's with me at different point markers, at what we call the gaps in between the mountains. So maybe every day or every other day, do a wellness check. How are you doing? Do a physical wellness check. Do a psychiatric wellness check. I thought would have been a good thing, because I want this event to be a big thing, not just for me, but for veterans in general, and for veterans who do struggle with PTSD, psychosis, and have suicidal ideations. It's a way of re-engaging in life and re-engaging with nature that I think is absolutely necessary. What I found was that wouldn't be a good thing, having that mobile unit, tracking your path with you or with me. It became a necessity, basically. It would have, if I had had that this time around, if I had known that was a need, not just a want, we wouldn't be having this conversation now. I would still be out there, because there'd be somebody out there looking after me, looking after Ashley, making sure that if I can't sleep on the ground, I'm sleeping in a camper. Easy enough. I can get better sleep, which is very, very important. I would be able to have a good breakfast and a good dinner, right? Enough nutrients, enough good food in me to sustain all of the physical activity. Ashley too, right? Water was an issue. Even though it was purified and filtered, some of the stream water, and I tried two different filters, didn't always go well with my system. So that was another issue. And that's something that you do not want to have far, far away from any type of, town, community,
Right.
is to have a bad stomach. That doesn't go very well, doesn't go very far. And that happened a couple of times. So having this unit, this person, whoever it would be, being able to sleep in a camper, being able to eat good meals, maybe change your shirt, have a shower, doing all it's not necessarily this is going back to what's normal for the community, not necessarily the traditional way of hiking the Appalachian Trail, which is you're carrying your gear, you're getting resupplied every so many miles at the next town or next gap. Having somebody that I'm going to meet would be a psychological advantage. Going, say, Ashley, today we're going, X number of miles, and and I'll just call it out because I already know it's there. At Horse Gap, we're going to meet somebody. We're going to rest there for the night. We're going to have a good meal, going to get some good sleep, and we're going to pick up the track and go to Neil Gap next. Better pacing, better logistical planning, but physically, mentally, psychiatrically, those aspects of having somebody meet you, literally checking on you, being able to sleep, being able to eat, and being able to use the bathroom appropriately, go a long way. So not just in the trail, but as I come back and I'm thinking about what normal is for me here at the house, those things I take for granted, being here at the house. And not everybody gets to share it, gets to have that in their life, but the minimal of eating, sleeping, using the bathroom, and having somebody just to ask you how you doing, were really fundamental and necessary. And I'm not going out there again 2027. And so I'm able to plan all of that through. And so there needs to be a mobile unit, and logistically I'm working through that. And then, how to plan the stops better. So yeah.
As you were describing that, so a thought came to mind, and is if you treated it maybe almost like a relay race, because, not everybody can just take the time off, because it is going to take 4 to 5 months to go through. But I bet you have enough veterans or people that would want to support you that could drive the unit from like there to there to there, and then have someone else pick up in a different one and still keep continuing to drive that, make it almost like a relay, race, where if you could tell them, I'm going to start here on this day, I'll finish this time, and that, you have someone there.
Absolutely. So everything is on the table right now. I need to talk with my board of directors and kind of work it out. But absolutely, at least one person, and whether they're volunteered or they're paid, either way, we're going to make this happen. And so,
So yeah, I say we put that out there now so people can start reaching out to you, anyone that would be interested in helping to support you,
we're going to put
next year for it. And it would be called like a supported hike, because you're still going to make that hike, but you just need the
yeah,
stops in between. And,
yeah,
but I also know it's important because on top of all of this, you have put together the Trail to Transformation Foundation, and we've only got a few minutes left. So I think it's important to let everybody know, what the foundation is about, what the programs are and stuff you have for it.
okay. So back in January, this is 2026, we were incorporated. Literally a week, I think it was a week before I was to step onto the trail, IRS granted us 501c3 status. So all that is official and up and running. At this stage going forward, so maybe there's a reason I'm not on the trail right now, because there has been a lot of work. Because of course it's a company and we're just getting started. So now you're helping me with the website. Got a Give Butter donation page. I think that's on the tail end of the TV show. And right now we're in the fundraising stage. And so with the website, we have a LinkedIn presence. We have got a Give Butter, foundation donation presence. A lot of all the infrastructure elements are getting in place. And so basically the TV show is kind of the forefront of everything else we do. This is where the conversation starts. This is where the message gets put out there. Hopefully as we go through 2026 and beyond, I'll be given opportunities to speak to different organizations about the struggles that veterans do have post-service, whether it's finding a job or all those other things, finding housing, maintaining steady and good relationships with people, and going further, because if they don't do all that, just like I have struggled, when things go rock bottom, I tend to kind of lean towards, well, we need to end this, and that's not always the right way to go approaching life. And so finding value, finding meaning, finding purpose in life is so important. For me, I just happen to find it in endurance sports, such as, endurance hiking. But now's the time to really kind of get the money in there and support people in nature-based programs, community support, however we can kind of help. And of course, the first thing we want to do is keep this TV show up and running, because this is the face of the foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are right. As the exit goes, they will have the QR code for the Give Butter for the foundation, and give you more information about the foundation. And yeah, I would encourage anyone to donate, contribute, or if you have ways or thoughts of contributing or how to help Keith make this happen next year, definitely reach out to him.
I appreciate that. Best way to do that right now is on LinkedIn. Laura, thank you for your time, and we'll do this again. And as always, I will see you on the trail. Imagine a world where every veteran finds a reason to keep going. That's the vision behind the Trail to Transformation Foundation. Help us make it real. Donate through the GoFundMe link, And as always, I'll see you on the trail.